Good day and welcome to Amazing Mrs. Mags. Today we're going to do grade 8 math, which is multiples and factors. In today's lesson, we'll find out what are multiples, what are factors, and how do we calculate them? How do we find them out? As well as what is a lowest common multiple and what is a highest common factor. So the first thing that we need to understand is certain types of words. The first word that we need to find out or to understand is, what is a multiple? A multiple is a number you find when you my spelling. Okay, so number you find when you multiply a given number. So let's look at an example. Let's look at our first example of multiples. So we're talking about multiples. Okay. So let's look at the multiples of 3. So multiples of 3 equals to, multiples of 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. How do I get these numbers? 1 times 3 equals to 3. 2 times 3 equals to 6. 3 times 3 equals to 9. 4 times 3 equals to 12. And 5 times 3 equals to 15. That is how we work or calculate multiples. So multiples is a number you find when you multiply a given number. That's why we have multiples. Multiply, multiple, multiply. Okay, so let me do that in another color, not black. Okay, so multiply is multiples. Okay, that is very important to know, because if you normally get confused between multiples and factors, and how do you know what the difference are? Multiple means multiply. Okay, so let's look at lowest common multiple. What is a lowest common multiple? A lowest common multiple, let's look at the words, lowest common multiple. What is the lowest common multiple? Well, it has multiple in it, which means it is a multiple of a number, right? Lowest common. Common means you have something the same that the other one has, which means you're supposed to have then 2 multiples that we're talking about, right? So 2 multiples, 2 or more multiples. Okay, and they should have something in common. Should have something in common. What do they have in common? The lowest number. The lowest number in common. Okay. Number in common. So that is what a lowest common multiple is. This is lowest number, a pair of numbers have in common. Let's not do it number, let's say multiple. Lowest multiple. Multiple. A pair of numbers have in common. That's what the lowest common multiple is. Okay. So let's look at an example. Take my black pen again. Okay. Let's look at an example of the lowest common multiple. What they would normally ask you is, give me or find the first 3 multiples of 12. So let's write that down. Question number 1. Find the first 3 multiples of 12. Okay. Question number 2 asks, is 300 a multiple of 12? Is 300 a multiple of 12? Okay, so that is our 2 questions that we need to answer. And let's see how we're going to answer them. Okay, so for question number 1. Question 1 is, find the first 3 multiples of 12. So that would be easy. What you need to work out is 1 times 12, 2 times 12, and 3 times 12. Okay, so once you have these answers, then you have your first 3 multiples of 12. 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 12, let's look there. So 12 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 times 12 is 24. And what's 3 times 12? 3 times 2 gives us 6, and 3 times 1 gives us 3. So 3 times 12 is 36. Of course, if you know your times tables, you would not have to do this. You can just write the answers. Okay, let's look at question number 2. How would we solve that? Is 300 a multiple of 2? How do we find that? Okay, so first of all, we need to divide 300 by 12. Okay, so we say here, bracket 300. Oh, let me write that a little bit neater. Come on. $300 divided by 12. Okay, so 12 goes into 30 twice, because 2 times 12 is 24. So 2 times 12 is 24. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. We subtract. We need to go borrow. 10 minus 4 gives us 6. 2 minus 2 gives us 0. Carry down the 0. 12 goes into 60. How many times? 5 times. Okay, so we have it 5 times. 5 times 2 gives us 10. 5 times 1 gives us 5, plus 1 gives us 6, and we subtract and we get 0. So our answer here is 25. Hold on, but they don't want to know 25. They asked, is 30 a multiple of 12? Which means yes. Yes, 30 is a multiple of 12. Because, therefore, 12 times 25 equals to 300. Okay, so yes, 300 is a multiple of 12 because 12 times 25 equals to 300. Okay, apologies if I misspeak. Now, let me erase this board and then we go to our factors. Alright, so what are factors? We are doing factors now. What are factors? Factors are a number that divides exactly into another number with no remainder. Okay, so it's a number that divides equally or exactly into another number without remainders. Okay, so that is what factors are. A number that divides exactly into another number without a remainder. Let's look at an example. Okay, so factors. Let's look at an example. Find the factors of 12. So find the factors of 12. Find the factors of the following. Let's say of the following. The following, so we can practice a little bit. Okay, A is 12, B is 25, and C is 110. Okay, so first of all, what can we do to find the factors of this? Remember, factors is dividing. Factors is dividing. Okay. So let's look at what we're going to do. So to find the pairs of numbers that multiply to give 12. Remember factors. So NB, factors are smaller than the given number. Okay, very important to remember. So let's look at 12. What can go into 12? 1 can go into 12 because 1 and 12 are 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12, and 3 times 4 equals to 12. So these are the factors of 12. The factors of 12. What are the factors of 25? The factors of 25. We know that 1 can go into 25 and 25 can go into 25. Okay? 2 cannot go into 25 because this is not an even number. Okay? Can 3 go into 25? No, it can't. Okay? And then we know 5 can be going into this number because 5 times 5 equals to 25. So we have our 3 factors of 25, and that is 1, 5, and 25. Let's look at factors of 110. So factors of 110. We know 1 times 110 gives us 110. We know 2 is a factor because this is an even number. So 2 times 55 gives us 110. And because this ends with a 0, we know 5 is also a factor of 110, and that would be 22. Can you guys see 2 and 55 and 5 and 22 double numbers? And then we have, because it ends in a 10, we also know that 10 is a factor with 11. Okay, so those are the factors of 110, and that's how we find it out. Okay, so we can divide it. We can say 2 goes into 110 how many times? 5 goes into 110 how many times? 11 goes into 110 how many times? And it becomes tedious. But as we go along, you'll see that there are many other ways of sorting things out. Okay, so we won't do the highest common factor with this video. I'll upload it with the next video. Okay, have a good day.